Only the present exists. We have no future because it's unknowable and refuses to unfurl its chaos on us yet. The past is the past. It's just gone, but it isn't dead. The past serves up pain and pleasure as a constant echo that affects our present, if we are aware. You see, although the past is gone, it seems to never die. Its ghosts scream out and resist remaining in silence. It can be begrudging and scoffs at reconciliation. Its clutch can manifest itself like a stranglehold wrenching our every second. That's the true haunting of Octagon Hall, a Kentucky home and former Confederate Army hospital and soldier refuge. Everywhere you look is a gaze into shadows of hardship, labor, life, and death. Every step near rock markers placed on graves in the slave cemetery is a reminder that this nation was built on the backs of a kidnapped race. Every single breath taken on that property commingles with the exhalations of treason, war, slavery, and death, the tragedies of the South and the Civil War it once waged. Now, don't get me wrong, I fell in love with the beauty of this location, but the memories of its horrors were veiled thinly by the tranquil farmland that surrounds it. Nor did I miss the palpable similarities between the Civil War of 1861 and the cultural civil war being waged in America today. Not that history repeats, but it often rhymes. You see, Octagon Hall isn't a historical monument of ennoblement. It's a sigil binding the sins of this nation's foundation to the haunting shadow cast over our struggling present. Please note, most responses are heard upon review and not in real time. Changes in the video's filter visually mark the replies that were the most significant. Those various audio responses have been enhanced, repeated, and sometimes slowed down. As always, we do not offer this video as irrefutable evidence of the paranormal, nor do we claim our annotations are 100% conclusive. All we're asking is that you please approach the data presented here with a curious mind, and that you wear damn headphones. My friend Scott Flood of Hotspot Investigations invited PARAHOLICS.com to drop in and investigate Octagon Hall in June of 2020. After the 3.5-hour drive, we settled in at the 1860 red brick home that was built with slave labor, once acted as a wartime hospital, and now serves as a Civil War museum. Originally, it was the home of prosperous farmer and tannery owner Andrew Jackson Caldwell and family. His first wife, Elizabeth, who is the mother of Francis or Fanny, Mary Elizabeth, and AJ, died along with their son AJ before completion of the house. His second marriage was to wife Harriet, and together they bore Edith, Henry, Martha or Mattie, Emily, Andrew, John, Joseph, and Virginia or Jenny, and resided on the 212-acre plantation with at one time 62 slaves. Probably the most common belief about the hauntings at Octagon Hall is the widely told story of daughter Mary Elizabeth catching her dress on fire down in the basement kitchen and dying as a result of her injuries. Then she was buried out back near her mother Elizabeth in what's called the family cemetery. Many people have reportedly experienced the spirit of this young girl on the property. But is the story accurate? Our research has shown conflicting 1850s death dates as well as census reports of a Mary Elizabeth living alongside her sister Fanny in 1860 and 1870. So if that's Andrew Caldwell's daughter, Mary Elizabeth, the probability of her dying in 1854 or 1859 seems highly unlikely. Maybe there was an incident of a fire in Octagon Hall. Maybe a girl did suffer burns and dies later. Maybe it was actually Andrew's daughter. Maybe she was burned but never died. Maybe there was another Mary who is a Caldwell relation that showed up in the census reports. But our research has also shown that 99% of all females born at that time seem to be named Mary, Elizabeth, or Mary Elizabeth. Of course, I'm being a tad facetious, so all of this could be just an odd coincidence. But if there's documentation to verify this, we'd love to see it. We've reached out to Octagon Hall and the local historical society to see what information they may have, but they have yet to respond. We will update the corresponding blog post for this video with any new information that may come to light. So, as with many situations Paraholics has been in, when the factual history doesn't always add up to the haunted history, often it doesn't seem to matter. When the unexplainable experiences people encounter support the haunted tales versus facts, what facilitates that? Is it merely our intentions that manifest the phenomena? If our thoughts are energy, the potential for something manifesting in or out of our heads might be plausible. Or is the conjurer of this type of phenomena some ethereal, unknowing, paranormal trickster that bends itself in these scenarios to give us a little taste of what we want to see, smell, feel, or hear without revealing its true purpose? People have had contact with strange phenomena, know what they've experienced without really knowing what they've experienced. The truth always seems to merely lie within the experience itself most of the time, without proof, without truth. We gathered in the dining room to introduce ourselves and to conduct an EVP session. During the session, we heard footfalls overhead, and Scott had placed a REM pod on the landing of the second floor, and something kept breaking its electromagnetic field. The first EVP we captured during the session was a racial slur towards black people in a very gruff voice. The worst one. And I'm not going to replay it here, obviously, but it is undeniable. A Class A EVP. This EVP seemed to maybe tell Elizabeth to let go, which I'm assuming might be in reference to the antenna of the REM pod upstairs. The third EVP was after I asked what's for dinner, and the reply here isn't the nicest. This combined with the first EVP makes me think that whatever was in the dining room was possibly the same entity, given that it wasn't friendly either.
What's for dinner?
To conclude the session, I fired up the reverse speech box. Alright, this is the reverse speech box, Octagon Hall, in the dining room, I guess. Can anyone say hello? Yeah, who needs help? Who said they need help? Who needs help? Is that better? Heard another help. Let's try FM.
Can you say hello? Hello? Justin?
Here is a great example of either the spirits giving validation of the Mary Elizabeth story or fulfilling the expectation of what we anticipate we will hear. So regardless of the historical accuracy of the event, it's an outstanding capture.
What happened to the little girl down in the basement? Yeah. What was her name? You say Mary?
Sometimes in ITC, you get examples of communication using harmonics. So literally any sound through these devices can provide materials for speech.
If there are any soldiers here, did you fight for the North or for the South? What general did you fight under? What general? Did you get injured in a battle? Do you know who made this box? No. All right, we'll try this experiment a few more times later. You have any message for me right now?
We descended into the basement kitchen and conducted an ITC session. I personally didn't catch any EVPs, but there was some clamoring going on down there that we couldn't discern the origins of. The most fantastic event was the blatant knocking against a wooden cabinet that was directly in front of me. We then fired up the Lear Geobox, which had minimal results.
Did you hear that?
Yes, yeah. I did. What was that?
Oh no, that wasn't you, was it?
No, it was over there, honey.
Yeah, it sounded like it was coming.
Sounded like metal big.
Yeah.
Yes, it did.
Wonder if there's a shaking on that door with a steel on it or something right by you. No?
It sounded like it was down the hall.
Whoa. Hey, thank you for knocking on that cabinet. Do you like having visitors? I think that's your camera.
I don't think they make noise, but they could. What the hell was that?
That was my steel plate in my ass.
While you're shitting your pants?
Yeah.
Alright, wanna try the Geo?
Can you see me? No? Can you hear me? What's Scott have in his hand? Pretty close. Thank you. How come you can't see me? I mean, you see the apple. Hey, who knocked on the cabinet earlier? Was that you? What happened to Mary Elizabeth? What happened? You can't hear?
On the second floor in the room that's designated as being Mary Elizabeth's, of course, with so many kids, who knows who slept where? I tried another EVP session and had no responses. And since I had the Lear Geobox with me, I opened up a closet and set it inside and conducted a session.
You want to say hello? Hi. Who are you?
Mary Elizabeth, are you here? Mary Elizabeth, was that you?
Does it bother you that that's in your closet? Close it. What's the name of this house? How many fingers?
Just in one hand.
Yeah. Is Mary Elizabeth here? Why was the Civil War fought? South?
Yes.
Are you a Confederate soldier?
Who was the president of the United States at that time? Who is the president of the Confederacy? How did you wind up in this hospital? Were you shot, stabbed, cannon? It's a wound? My name is Matthew Jackson. What's your name? William?
How many of us are in this room right now?
Any final message? All right, peace out. Cheers. Cheers. Bad people. Who's bad people? You think we're bad? Yes?
I went out to the slave cemetery with Mike and my son Charlton to see if any spirit voices wanted to be heard. The first device we tried was the Nanocom by Supernatural Inc. Then we turned on the reverse speech box.
The bell back here
Yeah.
came off a train they burned.
Oh, really?
Yeah. In the L&N, and you know the train track pretty much stayed in the same place.
Yeah. Look at the size of these cedar trees. Isn't that what that is?
Yeah.
They're just gorgeous. This is the slave cemetery.
Right.
And that's what I guess each of these rocks represent. Then there's some unknown soldier graves over here, Mike.
Those are the ones I remember. I didn't remember the others, though.
Yeah.
Neat old place, isn't it?
Oh, man. Out of deep respect, we come here today to try to talk to you. Did you say your name? Were you treated fairly?
Did your masters treat you nice? Or were they bad people?
Can you say what your name was? Can anyone use this device to say hello? All right, we're going to turn this on, and maybe it will help you communicate with us if you're willing. It plays everything backwards, so you have to try to see if you can make your voice come through. Can you speak through this? Are there slaves buried here? What was your master's name? Were they cruel? Or were they kind? Can you talk to this? No? Or can anyone say hello? You want to communicate? What's your name? Say goodbye. All right, goodbye. You say talk to you later?
Next, we walk back to the family cemetery. The longer I work with ITC, the more I'm starting to believe that there's a definite disconnect between ghost hunting and ITC work. I'm doubting that a haunted location plays much into a successful session, especially with a ghost box. Yes, sometimes it feels like an open mic night with a host of stuck ghosts trying to communicate. But there's the underlying intuition that I've acquired that only a portion of the intelligent replies that come through are relevant to the historical events of the locale, such as the initial responses at this session discussing the reverse speech box I'm using. It just doesn't feel like a Civil War era soul coming through to comment on the device. I believe we're tapping into something much larger than what we romanticize about in haunted locations, and maybe that's what's truly behind any communication. Here behind a wall of fieldstone is the grave of Elizabeth Caldwell, and allegedly those of infant AJ and Mary Elizabeth. Maybe the entities we were in contact with clarified this situation of who all is interred here for us. And again, if you've been following my channel or blog for a while, a video wouldn't be complete without an appearance from Henry Dixon of the Big Tunnel in Tunnelton, Indiana.
Can you say hello? Did you say reverse speech box? Is that for real? Anyone say hello? Hello? Whose grave is this? Whose grave marker is this? Whose grave marker is that? Is there anybody that wants to come through that we've spoken with before or any other place? Who? All right, I'm going to turn this off. Can you say goodbye?
I swear I was trying to say Henry.
I know. I thought I heard it too. Henry Dixon's after me, man.
Yep. Oh shit.
No, I'm serious. I thought I heard it a couple times.
You should get plasma guns.
Well, you know, there's a high percentage that there'd be a Henry associated with this place too, though.
But still, Henry.
Yeah.
If these people, and they obviously had some money if they built this house, and they had X amount of slaves and so on, why such cheap ass stones?
That's what I was curious about.
Maybe for their time though, that was.
Or
Maybe those markers came later. Yeah. Maybe those angels came later, and they.
Oh,
I mean,
even that. I mean, that's.
That one over there looks more timely.
Yeah.
I mean, that's what I've seen like in cemeteries around the same era, more like that, versus these. I think these were. I bet these were added later.
Yeah, you're probably right. And they may have replaced even. That's like where my grandfather is buried in Kenton, Mississippi, the one that died in the Civil War.
Yeah.
They had him sitting there looking at those nice stones, and you know that they're all buried in alphabetical order. And I'm thinking,
really?
how the hell did that happen? Well, it turns out that I did some reading and found out that the daughters of the Confederacy replaced them all later on, and they didn't know who was where, so they just put the stones in alphabetical order. You don't know who's buried where. Because I was trying to find.
They should put them in the order that they died.
Yeah.
They put them on ice.
Yeah. But I was kidding Kathy about that. I told her, I said, well, how we were going to find him? Well, there were hundreds of stones there. She said, well, looks like they're in alphabetical order. And I thought, how could they be in alphabetical order? And
that's how people died back then.
yeah, oh yeah. And what was a bitch is you had an A for, if your name was Adams.
Oh yeah.
Or Aardvark. AA. Oh Lord. Oh me. Neat old place.
Oh man, sure is.
Build and burn, build and our card. Whistling well. Servants were often required to whistle while bringing food to the family. You cannot whistle while eating. Oh, so that you didn't eat as you brought the food to your masters.
Yeah.
It's kind of fucked up.
Yeah.
For our final session of the evening, we met up with the Hotspot crew for a last Lear Geobox session in the upstairs master bedroom.
Whose house is this?
Did you hear William? I really think William.
Big
feel about Lincoln?
Was Lincoln a good president?
No?
Do you like it when the slaves whistle with your food?
Who won the Civil War?
You want us to leave or you want us to stay here with you?
You say goodbye? Anybody have a message before I turn it off?
Octagon Hall is an amazing location. We are so fortunate that hallowed places like this exist in spite of tragic history. It gives us the opportunity to traverse time and see and feel the library in the soil and bricks. A stern reminder to never disregard the transgressions of our nation's past, and a sanctuary for the victims of those not so silenced by death.